Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. So we're going to jump into our recap for tonight. Alright. Last we met, the Wayward Five arrived in the Twilight Vale. Sorry, folks. I'm reading the wrong recap.
That was
my God.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Oh no.
Why did I have that one open and not the one I needed? Quick.
You just posted it too. Why?
I know. Why?
It's okay.
Okay. All right, folks.
You got the right one now?
I do.
All right.
Disheveled composer. All part of the orchestra. Last we left off, the Wayward Five raced to catch the fleeing Undying champions, Rodrin and Sprig. The two enemies teleported away from their previous fight, but Talray was able to track them well enough. A chase led you all through the thick brambles and ancient trees of the Illodome Highlands, hinterlands. Through insect infestations, animal stampedes, and even a sighting of a rare and fabled Balefane, the Wayward Five were able to track down the champions and re-engage them in combat. Timber was able to take out Rodrin in a duel once more, killing the champion. Sprig, frustrated and angered by her partner's death, struck Timber with a wave of magic that put him right to sleep. She wrapped her moon sickles against his neck as the rest of the party approached. She threatened to slit his throat if they stepped closer. The once elegant and stoic champion was now a cornered beast. Kiran chose diplomacy and promised to bring Rodrin back if Sprig would just surrender and drop her weapons. Overwhelmed with grief, she relented and turned herself ethereal. Kiran rushed to the side of the fallen champion and performed the Revivify ritual, but not without an interruption. A projection of Queen Ayla herself arrived and isolated Kiran in a sphere of twilight shadow. She attempted to twist his thoughts inward on himself and cascade him with doubt. But Kiran would not suffer this witch's magic. He banished this projection away and brought Rodrin back from beyond. The ancient elven general looked different. His ears drooped a bit less. An icy blue returned to his once pallid eyes, and his voice no longer echoed with the grave. His oath to Queen Ayla was seemingly broken. Shocked and confused, Sprig fled on foot away and ignored the cries from her partner to wait. The party let her leave, another loose cog in Queen Ayla's machinations. You all questioned Rodrin as much as you could before weariness seemed to take him, and he needed rest. He told you that Queen Ayla lured the Twilight Drake Glomung into her lair, and now manipulates the little drake's magic. Her hope is to remove Alicia from the material plane, to protect her people from the coming threats. The rest of the world could perish, but she would protect Alicia. Late that evening, Timber communed with the wolf god trapped within him, Lu. His dream magic has kept this creature relatively sedated in the dreamy Feywild simulacrum. Timber wanted to extend a further peace to the bestial god. Some time outside of his cage and in real world. Timber willingly ceded control to Lu, so long as he behaved. Kiran watched as Timber's fur shifted from gray to silver to golden, as the ancient Fey Keeper god Lu walked the world again, with a clear mind, in the vessel of Timber. Just like that. Okay.
And that's where we left off.
And that's where we left off. So we left off with Kiran, you watching as this transformation happened to Timber and questioning it before calling out Lou's name, and he did look to you. So I think we'll take over in that moment. This happened when the folks were going to bed, so I think the only people who could potentially still be awake would be Sarathil or Talio. Sarathil, would you have gone to bed in the first portion of the night, or would you have waited until later, since I know you only need 4 hours also?
Yeah, I would have probably waited.
Okay. All right, so in that case, then both Sarathil and Curon would have seen this transformation happen to Lou, to Timber. So you would see the yeah, Scarlet, you're sleepy. There's all that running you had to do today. Lou would be standing upright. He had just acknowledged you, Curon, but he is not speaking yet. He does have the manacles on his ankles. His hands are free, though, but he wouldn't be able to run particularly well or anything like that. So what would you like to do?
Kieran, shouted out, Lou, and then he just... Did Kaze let you out?
Oh, I forgot I wrote this part. He would look, he almost looks like he's overstimulated in the way that he's hearing you, but he's kind of constantly looking around, looking for, one second. Can you hear? Oh, nope, that didn't work. Oh, can you hear me still?
Yes.
I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, I just forgot that I did voice mod for Lou and was desperately getting it up.
Just to let you know, I think the voice mod is over Sarathil's picture on the overlay.
Really?
Trying to keep me off?
Oh, sorry. No,
No,
it's just
it's not
delayed.
there.
It was
Yeah.
on there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that. Yeah, thank you. All right. So Lou would look to you, Curon, and probably take a moment to fully recognize you, and you would see a little turn in the head as he's probably thinking about the last time he saw you. And he kind of like steps forward towards you, and you can hear the rattling of the chains at his ankles, and he kind of notices them for the first time. But he would go to answer your question. Timber is inside. He let me out. So long as I don't feed. And he would kind of instinctually just start walking around, and occasionally, and he would drop to all fours, so almost instinctually walking that way, as even though he's in his bipedal form. Generally seems like he's threatening looking, but his behavior is very normal, or not normal, very non-threatening. Very much so like a dog in a new place. He's sniffing every single tree.
Yeah.
And just wandering around the campsite at this point.
So imagine Kieran is like following him around with a little bit of a distance between them, like a 5-foot gap. And he's just kind of like, so he just let you out then. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I assume this is, so that you stop trying to exert influence independent of him. Did you come to some kind of agreement over that, or?
I told him about the nightmares.
Nightmares? Of what?
Of attacking you.
Oh.
You see he shifts to, like, sniffing you now.
Kieran, like, took, like, a half step back, but he's, like, he's got his staff out in front of him. Just, like, letting it happen. He's like, oh, but those were just nightmares. You didn't actually want to do that, did you?
You see, like he stands back up off of all fours now, and he's very tall, even for you. And he just kind of puts a paw, like a timber hand paw that he has, onto your shoulder, and he kind of just like sniffs around your head a little bit, kind of messes your hair up a bit. I wanted to kill you. I wanted to feed, to be stronger, safer. But I don't feel that here. Only in the nightmare. I am sorry for eating your arm.
Oh, well, and Kieran just, like, doesn't drop it, but, like, opens up his arms, and he's like, it's understandable. I assume the influences of the Pallid King run deep within the corruption of a fey spirit such as yourself. It's all right, big guy. And Kieran puts his arm up to, like, pat him, like, on, like, the shoulder, but I almost imagine it's a little too tall, so he gets him, like, underneath the armpit. Just, like...
You see he, I would say there's a part of him that's concealing that he enjoys the patting. As he kind of, there was a brief moment as you were raising your hand when you mentioned the Pallid King that he did snarl, at you. But as it kind of wavered as your hand came up. I am not a house pet. And when he slaps your hand away.
Of course, my apologies. It's just... It doesn't... Well, I'm glad to hear that you don't want to eat me. And I think that, all things considered, working together is probably the best option for all of us. The Pallid King is no one's friend. I feel the plains would be a better place with his corruption gone.
You see, as soon as you started talking again about these things, Lou kind of intentionally separated himself from you and moved away. As you can see, any mention of the Pallid King seems to start making him angry. Timber said the spiral was not here. He said that there was no Pallid one here.
Yes, that is true. He is not here. Very safe area we've camped in. We're actually in Alicia, my home world, my homeland. Are you familiar? Did you ever travel to the material plane, the mortal realm, whatever I guess you would call it?
The memories are vague, far between. I had not come here. We've come to the place of mortals before. Long ago. Long ago.
Oh, Well then, be the first to welcome you back. We're happy to have you along.
You see, even as you say that, he kind of like lifts a foot as the heavy manacled bands around his ankles jingle.
Those were Kaze's idea, though I can't say I totally disagree, as the last time you and I encountered each other, as you recall, you ate my arm. And it is technically his body that you're in, so I kind of respect his wishes in keeping the manacles on, though I personally don't quite like their use.
You see, he would kind of give a terse nod, and then he would go back down on all fours and start to sort of maneuver, where he's kind of like moving around you. You can see him sniffing the air and looking out to the woods beyond your campsite. And then just kind of looking back at you as he stares at the woods, kind of with this longing look. Can I go?
Go where?
To the forest.
Kieran looks around to see if anyone is watching him and Lou.
Sarathil would
yeah.
be the only one, yeah.
I would have been during this time hearing the threats from this wolf god, kind of just been trying to keep himself as best as can out of sight, just like with a prepared spell in case something did go wrong, and just letting it play out. But then again, I don't have a high stealth check, so he probably could see me.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we know you have perception 30. We get it.
I was just gonna say. So Kieran would probably see Sarathil, and maybe just go like, and then he's gonna walk over to Lou, and he's going to use the butt of his staff to release the manacles.
Lou would, without hesitation, dart into the woods, like a golden blur in front of you as he disappears.
Just be back by morning.
I'll start walking up. He's like, you probably should have led with that, but
I didn't think he would leave so quickly.
has this happened before?
What's that?
Has this? Well, I guess he did just say he ate your arm. But
Yes. Kieran
how
says
many
he's picking up
times?
the manacles.
How many times have you experienced Lou possessing Timber's body?
A possession of that strength? Only once, truly, when he consumed my arm. Though his influence has corrupted Timber a number of times, causing him to lash out at Scarlet and Cal. I don't know when he lashed out at Wiswick whether that was Timber or Lou. You know, happened quite a bit, so. But never like this before, never in such a... His form now almost seems angelic compared to the ferocity with which we were met before. I guess
What I
technically I didn't
understand-
actually see him last time because I was unconscious and he just ripped my arm off.
Oh, good lord.
So,
That's a good point. The only time you would have actually seen Lou, Kieran, was actually in the library at Orion's, or
right.
not Orion.
Oriel?
Oriel, yeah. At Oriel's estate was the only other time that Lou has taken full control.
Right.
And Sarathil there at that point?
I was.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sarah, so
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. I guess I
Yeah.
retract thing. It's like, has it ever been in this calm state? Because obviously I just said
Okay.
I know that he
Yeah.
came and ripped his arm off.
Yeah.
Well, to my understanding, he's not an evil god. He's just been corrupted by this Pallet King. I wonder why Timber allowed him this freedom for tonight.
I assume it's a sign of good faith. So, should future encounters come our way, we can rely on the wolf god instead of fearing for his corruption of our friend.
What's our play now?
I hope that he returns in the morning. And maybe not mention this to Kaze if he comes back.
You suddenly hear a rustling above you as Talio leaps down from the trees. And
Your voice
You
modulator
sound
still
like
on?
a robot.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
it's like reverb.
Yeah.
Is it still? It's reverbing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
how about now?
Oopsie doopsie.
wait, say that again?
Is it still reverbing?
A little bit.
A little bit.
All right. Well, let's just turn that off right now. All right. No voice mod for. Is it still
Nope,
reverbing?
it's
Still.
It's not on at all right now. Are you sure that it's a reverbing sound?
Yeah. Now,
Oh.
now your voice is cutting out a little more.
Okay. Well, I might just be a robot tonight because it's not.
Right.
Maybe it'll go away.
Cool.
Well, this is fun. Oh, I know. I think I know why. How about now?
Yay!
So, I use OBS to put effects on the voice to cut out background noise. Somehow, I had two OBSs open, so it was just so my voice was just being played twice through that.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Well, we learned something new. Makes you sound like a robot when there's two OBSs open.
I guess that makes sense. But anyway, what I was saying was, you see Talio leaps down from the tree above, who was kind of probably on some kind of watch and was just listening to everything. He's just as snoopy as Kieran. But he particularly jumps down and lands like right next to the two of you as Kieran says, maybe don't tell Kaze this. And he'll drop a hand on your shoulder, Kieran, and be like, well, your time away from home has proven to show a bit of a change in your personality. Lying, Kieran.
I don't lie, Talio. I simply omit some unfortunate truths when it protects those I love.
No, I seem to not remember those sorts of omissions when we were young, and I'd get in trouble in the village because old Kieran can never tell a lie.
That phrase means a little more now, Kieran says as he kind of like rubs the back of his head, with his face being old.
Fair. Suppose wisdom does come with age.
That and having to fend for your life multiple times and having evil deities, mad mages, and all sorts of in between wanting to kill you. It's a delicate balance.
Well, was that beast one of the ones who wants to kill you?
Not of his own volition. Friend Kaze, or Timber. His real name's Kaze, by the way, in case you guys didn't know this. I don't really think we ever talked about that much.
I've heard you
goes-
mention that. I got the idea.
He goes by Timber, though. I think it's more comfortable for him, because he's supposed to be a super secret agent or something.
Truthfully, I've not been introduced to anyone but Sarathil here.
This is... Oh, right.
We got into a bit of a scuffle before introductions could be made, and then everyone promptly fell asleep.
That makes... that's... Introductions are for when everyone's here. He says, looking around at the sleeping camp.
Oh, well, that wood elf flew off somewhere.
He has that habit.
This Moondrake is still here.
Well, that's good. Just in case we encounter something, the action economy will be in our favor.
And that's what I thought exactly. That beast... something with that much fey magic radiating off of them. It's not usual here. Curious how his form will react with the other forest creatures. And the magic's here.
How do you mean?
Well, you know, Elysia is a place inundated with all forms of magic. There's roots of Ilyuvania everywhere. There's what remains of Bearet's blood and other ghosts. We've had visitors from Taramran before, but I'm not mistaken, it was a god.
Yeah, that was, the Fey Keeper Lou.
Gods don't traverse the forest at night without affecting it in some way.
Well, maybe Kaze should have left more stringent instructions.
Suppose. You'd like I could try to keep an eye on him.
If you don't mind, I think that would be best.
And well, it's been a good long many months since I've had to track anything. Given my expulsion from certain orders because of you, old friend.
Apologies, but you might be better off.
Oh, I agree. It's just now that we have a moment to rest, I feel some gentle ribbing is required.
If there's ever someone to keep me humble, Talio, Kieran says, slapping him on the back, it was always you. You and, my cousin.
Your cousin. Yes, I remember your cousin. Vicious one.
Yes.
Fair enough. You see Talio rushes, he kind of just runs out into the forest exactly like Lou did, but you see like he fires up a quick thorn whip and pulls himself up into the trees. Leaving the two of you there alone with a sleeping Scarlet. And Mundy. I imagine Mundy is like curled up next to Scarlet's bedroll.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if there's anyone suited for the job of tracking a Fey god, Talio's definitely up for it.
Oh, hopefully he comes back on his own volition.
Is there anything else you guys want to do tonight, or is it?
That's all that Kieran has. Otherwise, he's gonna be a little worried, but he'll get his long sleep.
Okay. Sarathil?
No, I think I should be good. Long sleep as well.
Okay.
Long rest.
All right, you are all easily able to find some rest. The forest is peaceful. You don't really see much if any of you are doing any kind of watching. Things are peaceful in this moment. Most animals seem to have been scared away from this region with your running around and loud noises and magic. And there's really no sign of like Elysian settlement anywhere nearby. Only old ruins. And you're able to catch some much needed rest after a long day of chasing people. You would be Kieran, would you do a Ilyvania's tiny hut?
No, I think he would want to sleep under the stars.
Shattered moon again.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Conveniently, we've got the 3 people here who probably are just not affected by how cold it is this far north. So the 3 of you would wake up the next morning to a very light dusting of snow. Anyone looking at Scarlet would see it all kind of melt as soon as it hits her skin. And there's just sort of these gentle flakes all about in the at this point very quiet forest, although there is the occasional sound of winter birds. And in this region of the world, there's still insect noises on the air. Few and far between. It's definitely not like a hot swamp in the summer, but you would hear occasional sort of forest noises where those of you who are not from this region would be used to forests being dead silent in the winter, but there's life here. No sign of Lou. Talray is sort of brooding off on his own in a tree. He's really taken up your brooding.
Only room for one brooder.
And just sort of every now and then quietly fighting with Mundy beyond anyone's
Brood
earshot.
Brood off.
Brood off.
Brood off.
But you would also see that at least in your immediate vicinity, Rodrin is not. You can't see Rodrin, but in the fresh snowfall, you can see very clearly his footsteps wandering into the forest. You can easily enough find him if you wanted to. But the 3 of you wake up easy enough as who's? Oh, there's no one to cook. To make any breakfast.
Oh no.
What do you mean? Who usually makes breakfast?
I don't know, actually. I think
it's Timber.
no one does. You guys just eat
Cal.
It was Cal. It was
That's
Cal,
true,
and
it was Cal.
it was Robert more often than not.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, rip.
I think Kieran has just
also-
got a bag of nuts that he just munches on. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, Kieran's a little squirrel.
I don't think I need. I don't think I need to eat.
You don't actually, Sarathil. You don't need to eat, drink, or sleep.
Nope.
You just need to have that.
Or breathe.
Yeah, you don't need to breathe either. That's right.
Nice.
proud of you.
Yeah, if
I'm
anything,
dead.
Sarathil would be like, "Oh yeah, that's right. Food's a thing."
It's been a while.
Been a while.
Oh, wow.
But Talio is not there as well. You presume he's out tracking Lou.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was kind of hoping that we could start moving ahead, but well, I guess Kieran looks at the sun. What time is it?
I mean, it's probably a little later than you all usually wake up because it was nighttime when you were chasing them in the forest, so it's pretty late in the evening. So you'd be able to. It's probably around 9:30 in the morning. And as far as like the sun is always kind of this like opaque thing in the Elysian sky, hidden behind some of the clouds, but you can tell what time it is. I mean, you guys have you have an actual watch, so
Right. Well, I think Kazai has.
it's true. Kaze does have it.
That's what.
He has a
Our
little pocket watch.
Well, we're trying to head to the capital, correct?
Yeah. Well,
Which-
Ferris Moor. That's where Queen Ayla will be.
Where's just before that? Sorry, where's Roderick?
He wandered off.
in the
Oh, he
forest
just
somewhere.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he wandered off, but you can see, like, if you wanted to look for him, you could. His footprints are in the snow.
Oh, okay. So is that where we should head first? Or... You know this land better than anyone.
Let me get in contact with Talio, and maybe if you want to go fetch Roderick, we can get everyone together and start heading north.
Kieran
Yes.
and Sarathil, I guess, before I'm going to follow you wherever you go, I was just wondering, do you think we'll be able to make that meeting between my brother and Kinsley?
The meeting. Oh, right. The one where they're probably going to...
I don't know what it's about, but I don't think it's going to be peaceful.
What was our time frame again?
It's the 15th of Villadglom is when that meeting is, so it's the 15th of March. For you all, it's currently February Arvidglom, February 28th. So last day of February.
2 weeks.
You have 2 weeks until that meeting.
And the location again was
Cairdolan.
The capital of Oxland.
Mm-hmm.
Did Wiswick have a circle for that?
Yep.
Yes.
Then,
yes. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to see where this journey takes us, but I mean, distance is not an issue. Since I was luckily able to copy over all the scrolls, Cairdolan was a location that I do have for teleportation.
Right. I just wish I knew what it was about.
Well, we had sent one of Kaze's fellow monks,
Dasha.
Dasha, to
Dasha.
investigate
That's
a number
right.
of things in the capital. I don't know. Kaze hasn't updated me about anything concerning that, truly. I may have sent her a message a while ago, but yeah. Didn't quite seem that plot crucial, if I'm honest. I don't know if we'll have... yes, as Sarathil said, it all depends how our next venture against Queen Ella goes.
If we don't end up making it, maybe I can talk to him safely this time and ask him what it's about and say that we can't come and see if that gets him
From
to
what
say anything.
Kaze told me, this meeting isn't about us. I don't know how much they, Kinsley, Thatcher, the Pallid King, even the Harbinger, how much they really care about us. As much as we've been a thorn in their side, I'm sure you still see Kiranta's motioning south, the destruction that they're creating, leaving in their wake. I think this is something more personal for them. Whatever Thatcher's trying to do, and whatever Kinsley has planned for the Quintarchy, they'll follow through, regardless of whether we're in attendance.
Did I ever tell you guys about the deal that I made with Kinsley?
Yeah.
I think you did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And Kaze would have told you guys about Kinsley saying, or Thatcher saying that it was, the purpose of the meeting was to deliver the head of the Crimson King.
Right. Right, and he told Scarlet that as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But didn't he allude to something more when he was saying... Yeah. Right, so You can most certainly try to reach out to your brother, but
You say that you have a way of doing it safely. What do you mean?
Well, Huron would be present. Wouldn't try and do it behind his back this time.
I see.
But if you don't think it's worth it, then I won't. I don't want to put anyone in danger.
if you feel you need to, just... I fear our focus needs to be here, in the present, against Ayla.
Right.
Well, let me see what Talio's up to, and maybe the two of you can go
Yes.
find Roderick.
I think he headed that way. As I'll start to follow the footprints that are in the snow.
Excellent. God, are you going to go with Sarathil or stick with Kieran?
I'll stay with Kieran.
Okay. All right, so Sarathil, you would follow the footsteps into the forest, and they don't go that far away. They just kind of go downward. All of the parts of this forest are where you are, at least, have been the roots of the mountain. So it's been a lot of cliffs and different areas, different layered steps of cliff and forestry. So it takes you a little while to descend down where he seems to have gone, where there's a small pond. You can kind of just see has this beautiful violet reflection of the stars above, and the dusky sky. Snow gently falling a little bit more here because there's no canopy above the pond, and you would see Rodrin is about waist deep into the waters. Kind of just like holding his hands out a little bit. He seems to be, as far as you can tell, either in some meditative state or praying in some way. But he's in the waters of the pond. You can see kind of the strange, much like you, undead form of him. You can see kind of these cuts across his body where he's sustained wounds since transforming into an undead, and they just don't heal the same as wounds for living. They are uglier. They stay open more. They're more like fissures in the flesh than they are raised scar tissue.
Right.
And he just seems to be praying up, or at least meditating beneath the corpse moon.
I'll kind of just observe him just for a minute. Not terribly long, probably like say 5 minutes. And if he doesn't do anything noticeably interesting, then I'll approach.
Okay.
Maybe not 5 minutes might be too long. Maybe like a minute or so.
Yeah. So mainly what you notice is that he seems to be going through a cyclical process of kind of like being arms outstretched like this and looking up, eyes closed, muttering an Elysian under his breath. And then he would kind of dip himself down into the water and then come back up. He does this several times before you walk up.
After seeing that a couple times, I will approach and say, Rodrin, I hate to disturb you from what looks like to be some sort of prayer, but just wanted to inform you that we're all up now, and I think ready to discuss what our next move is.
You see, he would turn to look to you, and you can see he's been in this water for quite a while. As you can see, even though the flesh doesn't show that kind of constricted, tight muscles of someone who's experiencing a polar plunge, he is unreactive to it, much like you are to the cold. But you can see, like, this ritual has gone so long right now that there are like icicles forming on his face from the water drips. And he seems to have been doing this for a while. As he would leave the water, gather up his shirt and whatever other clothes he has, and And you can like see him now, like not as a soldier. He doesn't have any of the armor on now. He just has plain clothes. Those clothes look like they were the finest material probably in Elysia 1,000 years ago, and now are kind of threadbare and more ascetic and faded with time. As he would come up and he would nod to you at first a bit stoically, and then kind of as he's getting ready to follow you back would look to you and say, You know the touch of undeath.
I have felt the power of Iluvania myself. Yes.
Huron said that you were from a different time.
Yeah, from what I can gather, I first was able to commune with Iluvania nearly a millennia ago. But when I acquired her gift, I slumbered in a tomb for quite some time, until I was found by Kiran. And it was there I realized that it was meant to be, that I needed to wait and join him on his quest.
So you have slept most of your undeath.
I have. I'm still not quite... Sometimes I don't even feel like I am undead, as you would say. It hasn't really hit me of seeing years pass by. You can't imagine what that may feel like.
Well, it's hard for even me to imagine. There was such a fog over my eyes. Well, suppose it's time to hear your plans, answer your questions, and decide my own fate.
Well, I'll let you get prepared, change back into what... Or you could finish doing what you need to do. And we'll be expecting you shortly.
Word to the wise of another undead fellow. Find ways to feel life again. As he'll kind of like snap icicle off of his chin.
Will do. As long as I have purpose, I know that that spark of life still exists.
That's what I told myself as well. For 1,000 years.
I'll just kind of nod and I'd head back.
Kieran, you were sending a message to Telio.
Yep, he's just gonna send it a quick little sending, be like, "Greetings, Honoro. We were hoping to head out soon. Are you still with Lou?"
Oh, I found him, yes. He found himself a nice little spot, and he's just sort of been running around in circles. And, howling quite a bit. It's very annoying, actually, but he's not exactly what I'd expect from a living god. I'll make sure he comes back.
right then. So once Sarathil returns, Kieran will kind of be like, well, Talio has said that Lou is, off doing his things, so I guess we'll give him a little more time.
Do you mean lose off?
Well, you see,
That's
last
that's
night...
a bad thing, isn't it?
Well, actually, it would appear that Kaze has found common ground with the deity that inhabits his body. He communed with Lou last night and gave Lou full reign. Willingly. And Lou came out and, to his credit, did apologize for consuming my arm, which I greatly appreciated the sentiment of. And considering Kaze fixed it back up, I mean, no skin off my bones.
All right, so
Get
we're
it?
just going to... Yes, I get it, Kieran. Just going to wait for him to give control back to Timber.
Well, I don't quite know the grounds of their agreement. I don't know if Lou's out for a set amount of time, if Timber would take back control when he deemed fit. But Talio has eyes on Lou, and said he would bring him back when he's ready. So until then, I guess we can just head off. And hope for the...
Right. So what are we doing then? What do you want to do, Kieran?
Well, we have to do what we came here to do.
A little more specific, please. What is it that what's the plan? What are we going to do moving forward from this camp?
I think we should head north to the Adrianari.
Adriatic.
Yes, the Adriatic. Adranari Vale. Well, shoot. I'm gonna reference my map. I think that map. We will head north. Roderick, he here. Maybe he can inform us of current political standings.
You mean Rodrin?
That's the one.
You all are
Yes.
Hold
down
on.
here.
Yeah.
This whole area is the Adranari Vale.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Huron's home is like around here.
Yeah.
This is the civic capital, Sarathil, not Sarathil, Sarathil. All the
Named
way
after
over
me.
here is the religious capital of Therismore,
There's tomorrow, yes.
which
of
is where
course.
you saw those shadows in the beam of scary ghost light. And then up here is just stuff that's probably not relevant to you right now.
And
I think we should go up there to the non-relevant stuff.
Oh, to Tor Alda. Okay, well, you can talk to some of the few wizards left in Elysian Society.
that's where Queen Ayla is.
She's in
Therismore.
Therismore,
Yeah.
yes, up
Therismore.
here.
Right. So Kieran will point to the green beam shooting into the sky and goes, "That's our end goal." But I'm not sure how exactly to go about getting. We could cut a path straight there, meet her, and deal with her undying court. Or we can stop by Sarathil and see if we can't get any help from the Sovereign and whatever shepherds remain there. Though the current Sovereign is... well, From what I recall, he was a weak fool who did not quite understand the importance of separation of church and state. Or, excuse me, the separation of shepherds and seers.
Sorry.
No.
Well, you know me, I like to be direct. But I trust your judgment in knowing what's best.
Well, it's hard. On the one hand, I don't want any of my kinsmen to get hurt in the coming conflict. So if we took on Ayla directly, it would just be us and whatever allies we make along the way. However, if we head to Sarathil first, we can at least let my people know of Ayla's corruption isn't the right word, of her wishes, and simply state them as is.
Would they believe you?
I don't know if it matters. Alicia has stood as an isolationist nation for thousands of years. I fear many of my kin would be fine with her current goals to use the little Drake's power, protect our people, and let the rest of the world burn. It would only be by some divine sign that they might be swayed. And recently, Kieran says, kind of looking towards the ground, just like making like a little light of magic with his hand and letting it flicker out. My last few calls for Livania, I haven't quite gotten anything yet. At this, he's referring to the number of divine interventions that have failed.
Well, then if it doesn't matter whether we go to the capital, Sarathil, or not, it's just a matter of time. Do you think Ayla will use that time that we're not there to, I don't know, continue her wishes?
It seems now she simply uses Gloomun, or has him in her grasps, ready to be used. And we can expect more Undying Champions to be sent after us.
So then it seems we should just go straight to the source then.
At this point, Rodrin would you'd see Rodrin coming out from the forest line, and he would say, as he's kind of drying himself off still, "You've certainly given her perspective, I'm sure. The Undying One acts on her own timeline. She has for 20,000 years. Every now and then, he'll nod to Kiran. Pebble into the river will make a large splash. She will likely act on a quicker timeline now, knowing that you are hunting her, so to speak. There are many more Undying Champions. Not all of them are as decorated as Sprig and I. Some are just, lack of a better way of putting it, lesser soldiers. And of course there's the seers. They are not fighters. You will likely...
Champions.
Go ahead.
These champions, are they kept throughout all of Elysia? Or are they just
Some.
localized near her?
She will likely localize them if you get close enough and she knows you're close enough. But we are sent all over Elysia to decree her will.
Perhaps it's better to, as Scarlet said, move as quickly as we can to her before she can localize more power.
The thing about Glomung the little drake, he's a mischievous little godling. And his powers bend and twist the material plane. It's what she hopes for, to bring us... He'll look to Kiran. Bring us home. All she needs to do is find the way. But given that type of magic, she can also begin to twist and bend the material plane to have the champions suddenly in one place when they were in another only a moment ago.
If only our servant of Gloman could use his magic in such a way, Karen says, looking up to the sky.
See Talray's pouting in a tree right now.
Thinking to himself for a bit. Do you know why? What's holding her back from fully utilizing Gloam's power? Is she just experimenting, or is this something that she's missing?
I assume she's missing something. You have the dragon. She just need to take his power, access it fully. And if she... Rajan kind of like winces, not winces, but kind of like almost has his face scrunches in contemplation. Unless she doesn't know the way.
The way.
Considering more on this news, maybe it is not for best if we rush right in. Consider possibly, what if she is not able to access the power of Gloam fully, because her herself is in need of, kind of gesturing to your staff, Kiran, the moon shards that you hold.
What if she doesn't?
She would have already moved all of Elysia to a different plane by now, I would imagine. She wouldn't wait for us to appear.
I suppose that's true.
I have served Queen Ayla for more than 2 millennia. What I know of her strategic mind likes to lure her prey to where she has an advantage. He looked at Kiran when he said prey.
So then she wants us to go straight towards her. Wants us to walk to the doors of Theris Moor, where she'll have her entire court waiting. And we'll have... Kiran looks around.
Mundi looks at you and is like... pukes up some random fish that he caught in the pond.
Well, we have to cross the Adriatic River somewhere.
The Adra River. You've been away from home a long time.
I've never been good with words. Geography was where I failed in my learning.
Ayla will want to make an example of you. Or if you are as powerful as I've seen, and it's not just a fluke that you've done these things, she may want to collect you. You'd be a powerful servant to the court.
I've never really been known to bend the knee.
Neither was I.
Then how did you come into her retinue, if you will?
Virus and threat protection needs updating.
I thought it was me.
I thought it was me.
It's the Harbinger!
Oh no! Portal opens up above you all.
And you see it. A pirate ship.
Oh my god.
He would look to you, Kieran, at that, and almost catching himself in that moment where he's almost reasserting his stoicism in that moment, having let more than he probably would have liked go. Well, what I can say about that is it was a dark time. The light of Ilyvania was just snuffed out. And I lay on my back amongst the blood of my brothers and sisters, having slaughtered the Molten Hammer and ended the war on our lands. And then I was being lifted through the streets of Sarathil on my back as a hero. And in those moments when you feel nothing but the joy of a saved people and the light, even the most stubborn of the old dogs might think there's hope in it, the gifts offered to him. But that was 2,000 years ago. And you've helped me see differently.
All I did was remove the veil from your eyes.
You think wisdom comes with that kind of time, but it's more blindness. As the passage of time slows around you and then hastens. And he'll look at Sarathil as he's saying these parts. So much time, but you really don't use it that much. When you have all of it, it's easier to let the river carry you.
Well, rivers can be dammed and diverted. When they do, things happen.
No. Inspiring one, aren't you?
They can't all be that good.
Well, you've got these outsiders to travel with you all the way here, to almost certainly die at the hands of a
Excuse me.
queen.
We are not here to die, Rod. We're champions of Ilyvania, after all.
But then what's your plan? To not die? You bested me and Sprig. What?
We bested you purely in combat, but fighting Ayla will not simply be enough with magic and swords. Words and power will have to come through with that as well. Currence is more addressing Sarathil and Scarlet now. I think Sarathil should be our destination. We will speak with the shepherds there. Yes, we will go within our friend here.
It's all inside.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. Couldn't help it.
It's okay. We'll speak with the shepherds, people there, and see what allies we can muster. If we face Ayla alone, while I believe in our party's ability to fight, even I can see the troubles against taking on the entire Undying Court by ourselves.
Go to Sarathil then.
This will take longer than Scarlet.
Maybe for the best. Perhaps there we can cut off a few of her agents and stop them before they retreat back to Therismore.
She'll certainly have eyes there. Once you leave these hinterlands, she'll have eyes almost everywhere.
Well, I'm sure she can see us at any time she truly wishes.
And you felt the enveloping fold of this realm.
Indeed. For now, though, we're at the edge of her power. Let's see how far we can get before another encounter with the court. And while we're out here, maybe try to find a few friends. I always remember the people of my village speaking of the who's it cows? The hedge clerics, the Glenuville Circle. Glenuville. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Excuse me while I pull up my own lore.
And while the Veiled Wardens and the 222s and
The Illuna Protectorate.
The Illuna Protectorate, well within her pocket, yes. Any outsiders we can bring to our side, the better.
You think you will be able to convince them?
At least explain the situation. Let them decide what is best for themselves.
The Glanuvial Circle never had any love for Ayla. It's a good place to start.
Who knows? Maybe they can bring some of those Bale Thanes with us. Oh, did you see that one back there?
I'm afraid I had your friend's claws in me at that time.
Oh well. Yes. Well, they're magnificent creatures. Have you ever encountered one?
I have not come to the hinterlands since my youth. And I am reserving judgment for all of you still, but you survived two millennia in servitude. You don't, in many situations you find someone you drew a sword on as swiftly as someone you draw a sword with.
An open mindset. That's what I like to see. Kieran says, clapping him on the shoulder, and goes.
He'll kind of get like taller at you doing that, kind of almost like he for a moment his like 2,000 years of being like top dog kicks in, where he's just sort of like, how, like the face just says, how dare you touch me? But then he like quickly is like, you resurrected me.
Kieran will give a little like, cool.
There's just sort of this glare that comes down to you.
Yeah. And starts to gather his things to head north.
So he will be joining us.
Better.
Rodrin.
Are you asking him that?
I guess I am asking this. I guess so. We are heading north. Will you be joining us?
Oh, of course he's joining us. Why wouldn't he? Kieran putting on his pad.
We lifted the fog, but I don't know if he's quite ready to to personally stand up to the queen he served for a long time as well.
I'm not asking for that. You know, it's lonely out here. Don't you want the company?
There's a great part of me that would like to just stay here by this little pond. See where this life leads. If there is an end to it without Ayla. But I would be lying if I didn't say I fear the dullness of my mind leaving me. I will go with you, to Sarathil at least. And then I will choose my own fate.
Of course. Just remember, though, the fate of our people and the entire realm is at stake here.
And I trust you will do us all justice. Huron the heretic.
Maybe don't go calling me that.
And don't pat me on the shoulder again.
Understood, sir. Sharon says, kind of almost remembering himself. Face of this amazing general of LOL. Oh, LOL?
Of LOL.
LOL.
Yeah, he starts to pack up, and you see he starts to put his armor back on, almost in a like ritualistic way. It like reminds, for those of you from the before Sarathil times, might recognize this soldierly attitude in the way that Cal used to very obsessively clean and check his armor and weaponry. It's not long after you all are getting ready that you just hear like trampling in the woods, as you suddenly see erupting from the forest line is a swarm of those sort of ethereal butterflies that Talio had used as a messenger. But you see immediately Lou jumps out of the forest and just swipes his hands through the swarm, like just like joyfully trying to catch butterflies, basically. As you can see behind him, walking slowly and just sort of twisting his hands, orchestrating these butterflies, is Talio, who just sort of is like, your parents said it would be a honorable position, being a ranger of the Veiled Wardens, and you'd see great things and venture and serve your queen. Hello, friends. I've returned your beast. Your godling. God.
Thank you, Talio. I think that interacting with a godling would be quite the adventure, no? Is this boring for you? Is this beneath you, oh friend of mine?
Not at all. No, of course not, Kiron. I am here to humbly serve my elders.
Oh, it's elders.
He'll smile and walk past you and collect his things, and then go and find his Velik stalker. Then I forgot the name you gave it.
Varexi.
Varexi. That's right, Varexi.
Kieran will kind of like walk over to Lou and be like, Lou, any word from Kaze? Are you... Is he...
No. He's in the cage. He said he would come out when he was needed.
Well, then, happy to have you along. We're heading north now.
Towards the moon.
Yes. Well, not... Yes. Towards Ilyuvanya's land.
There is a lot of pain in these forests.
What do you mean by that?
Everything here lives by that moon. And there's not much left of it.
Well, hopefully, if all things work out, that moon might have a little more life by the time we're done here.
It's weird and strange, fey and celestial. Familiar but foreign, dead but alive. Like a fusion of the great trees, the pillars of everything.
Oh, so you ascribe to the pillar theory of the cosmos.
I've seen the pillars. I failed to protect a pillar. Was forced to murder my friends.
Yes,
for one of those.
Here's your chance to bring balance back where you once failed. We fall so we may pick ourselves back. Come, Lou. Let's go do some good in the world.
You see where you see what Kaze had seen in the vision, where some of the fur shifts to that red and black, and the eyes turn purple for a moment as he self-spirals, but your words calm him back down. Until he'll join you.
As we're like all starting to leave, Kieran leaves over to Sarathil and Scarlet and goes, "Be careful not to say anything about the Pallid King or the bad things Lou has done in the past." Kind of sets him off.
Sarathil kind of nod. He's like, James, I have so many questions about the Fae.
Ask them, just be careful how you phrase them.
You sure it's safe, Kieran?
Scarlet, we're about to march against undying demigod, this, who's been alive for over 20,000 years. Is anything safe anymore? Perspective is all. That. Go.
As you're moving about, Lou kind of Scarlet, there are points when Lou does kind of like stare at you and then occasionally comes up and sniffs at you.
Can I help you?
I remember you. You stabbed me.
I did. Well, you tried to kill a friend, so I stabbed.
Yes. You're hungry too. You feed, you hunger.
No,
Nightmares of power.
not intentionally.
I'm sorry if I hurt you.
I'm sorry if I hurt you.
Friends.
Friends.
Good. We won't be lonely anymore.
Suppose not.
And then he'll wander up ahead of you. Talia would call back to you, Kieran. And where are we heading? Directly to Sarathil, or did you still wish to speak with the Glen Nuvial Circle?
Do you know of any of the circle nearby?
I know of a lodge nearby. Veiled Warden Lodge. hopefully unoccupied, but it is a good perspective point where I could then use some of the trails to find a track for the Glenuvial circle. They move around, but they leave their presence known for the Veiled Wardens.
Then I think that's best for our first step. The sooner we can start making some friends, the better.
Alright, well, there's a lodge. It's probably only a day or two away. We move quickly. We can get there, we can rest, we can stockpile up if you need food, water, whatever you need. Weapons. Although, you all seem quite armed. And then from there, I should be able to get the tracks easily enough to bring us to one of the Glenuvial camps. They're quirky folk, but they are probably your best bet at a friend in these parts. Follow me.
And we walk.
And he'll hop onto the back of Raxi and lead you through the Ludome hinterlands. It's going to be somewhat of a forced march to get there quickly. But it will, you'll have the benefit of being guided by Talray, so you will be able to move quicker than you normally would have, and not have to worry about penalties for perception and all of that. It'll take you 2 days to get to the lodge, and then from the lodge probably 1 day to get to a Glenuvial circle. But before we go over some overland travel, we are going to take a quick 5-minute break, everybody. So folks at home, please stick around with us for this break. We'll be back in 5 minutes at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we explore Elysia a bit more. See y'all very soon. See you soon, friends.
See you soon.
Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise. Our heroes have just departed from their camp in Elysia in the Illudome hinterlands, heading northward, generally, to get to Sarathil, but there's many miles between here and there. And they want to find some refuge and some allies in these forests. So, under the guidance of Kieran's good friend Talio, you are heading to one of the Veiled Warden lodges. Hopefully there aren't any Veiled Wardens there, but even if there are, you can start sneaking around just to find the Glenuvial circle of hedge clerics or druids devoted to Iliovania. So Talio begins to lead you through the woods at this point. It's going to take 2 days, traveling through dense forest, and quite a bit of hiking as well through the kind of different elevations here as well, since the roots of this mountain are quite deep and far into the Vale. So as you're traveling, is there anything anyone would like to do in these 2 days, or anything you'd like to keep an eye out for, or anything like that?
I think at one point, Kieran would talk to Rodrin.
Okay, so we got a chit chat with Rodrin. Other two.
I'll have a conversation with Scarlet.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let's start with Kieran's conversation with Rodrin, and then we'll jump over to that combo. And then if there's anything individual that you'd want to do, Scarlet, as well.
Yeah, if there's time, maybe talk to my sword.
You got 2 whole days, so there's plenty of time.
Great.
And you're relatively safe in these forests. I mean, it's still wise to probably keep watches in the evening, but generally during the day you should be fairly safe unless you run into another batch of Veiled Wardens who are loyal to Ayla. But generally, you're probably in a cool, you can easily talk to Rodrin about it. You're kind of in it's gonna be a while before a group of champions will reorganize to come after you. Not a super long while, but definitely you have a few days of clarity. But Kieran, you can easily enough come up next to Rodrin as you're all hiking through the woods.
Yeah, so Kieran kind of comes up and, it's really stricken him now, having more time with Rodrin and having time to process it, that this is, a hero of Elysian culture. So he kind of comes up next to him with, a little extra awe on his face and goes, my grandfather fought under you during the Morsia conflict.
Is that true?
Yes, he would have been only a boy, basically, just old enough to grip a glaive. He wouldn't come into himself, and later he would have known him maybe Anargil Isilistane.
Narigil Isilistane. I'm gonna roll a dice to see if he remembers your grandpa. What was it again? Anargil?
Anargil.
Anargil Isilistane. There were many young folk who followed me then. We could spare no one. Let me think on it. I may remember your grandfather.
If it helps, he once told a story. You were all fighting against cultists of Herfost, and supposedly him and his group were cut off. He had but a pitchfork in hand. He led a group of the Protectorate through, smashing against the shamans of the undead Drake. It's strange, to meet your heroes. Find out they're mind controlled by the queen of your people. I don't know, it's just... Don't always get used to the things that I've been encountering in my journey.
I understand. I learned a long time ago that there are no heroes. There are only people. Individuals. Like your grandfather.
Well, he was a hero to me. As are you. Heroes are what we make them. They are individuals. With faith, we can elevate those to help guide us when we need it most.
I suppose I've needed guidance for a long time. Maybe you will prove yourself a hero, Kiran Isilastane, like your grandfather.
And Kiran just nods at that. Either steps forward a little more, or he distances himself. The conversation is done.
I mean, I had so many more questions for you. I wanted to know, what does food taste like again?
Oh, it's delicious. You're missing so much. I'm so sorry.
No, a man of stoicism knows when a conversation is over. But Sarathil, in these similar moments, you can easily... Well, you guys aren't riding horses. I was about to say saddle up next to Scarlet, but you can walk up next to it.
Yeah, I'd say this would be at a moment where we're camping for the night.
Yeah.
Where we're like on the fringe of before, like we're going to be taking a long rest.
Yeah, I'll say it's at the end of the first day.
Sure. Scarlet, if I may have a word. I know you were looking to buy a chance to talk to your brother again. And I know you had mentioned that it'd be safer if Kieran were around to do it. But that still might prove dangerous in case something were to happen and you'd be overtaken again.
I don't know if it's worth it. Honestly, we saw what happened last time.
True. But I did have a thought that of a way that it would be much more safe and probably would not allow any sort of backfire.
Really?
As he'll take his diadem off and I'll hand it to her. If you'd like to use this, I use it on you to mind blank yourself, but additionally it has other features, specifically the ability to telepathically connect with anybody you're familiar with. So, without
work with the mind blank?
Well, it's not mind blank. I'm saying there's a different spell.
Yeah,
there's more than one. There's more than one.
I'd say because if you were wearing the diadem yourself, you'd be able to more control that a bit more, where you could use the other features of the diadem in concert with the mind blank. But because you've been the target of the mind blank these last few months, you've had no control over it. So, like, you know, if Sarathil were to cast mind blank on himself, he could still use divination spells to send out a telepathic link.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Take time to think about it, but it is an option if you ever wanted to talk to your brother again.
Thank you, Sarathil. I know we haven't known each other very long, but you've done a lot for me in the short time that we've known each other, and I'm very grateful.
I can see that. I just look to help. As I was telling Rodrin before too, I just need to find purpose somewhere in this life. And mine has always been helping others.
You're very good at it.
So, you let me know anytime you want to speak to your brother, and I can allow you to borrow the diadem.
You really think it would work?
I think so. I mean, the spell that is imbued in it is a very interesting and powerful artifact. You were in control fully of the telepathic link. If you're awake, granted, the creature or whoever you're trying to contact must be willing to talk back to you, but they should not have any sort of control over you whatsoever.
I'm very tempted. I've tried to get through to him. I don't think it's working. I don't know. Kieran said focus needs to be on this right now. But I'll think about it. And I'll hand it back to you.
Very well then. Because I'll put it back on and just continue the rest of the night.
Absolutely. As you would find yourselves, Talia would be finding you all particularly like well-trodden, hidden places to camp that are a secure area. As you'd see, Talia is kind of like getting his bow strung to go hunt for food, but before he even has a chance to get himself all set up to get ready to go out, you see coming out from the forest shadows is Lou, shimmering gold fur, walking on all fours with an entire elk in his mouth that he just sort of drops down in front of everyone. Just sort of looks to all of you and has this big kind of grin on his face. Food. For friends.
It's quite a lot of food.
I don't really partake.
Lou completely ignores Kieran. But there's a lovely little kind of quiet night you have in this first evening before embarking on the next day, where you should reach the location by the night.
Can I talk to my sword?
Yes. Do you want to talk this evening or during the day the next day?
I don't want to be doing it while we're traveling.
So tonight, probably.
So tonight, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so things are calming down. They're cooking the elk on the fire. You see Lou is kind of somewhat disturbingly kind of like completely ripping the body apart and just like sort of like dropping flesh onto the fire, thinking he's cooking well. Because he doesn't eat cooked meat, so he doesn't know how it works. But he knows you all eat cooked meat, so he's like hands you all basically raw meat that's just a little seared. Scarlet, you can easily sear yourself, finish cooking it yourself.
And I'll surreptitiously cook everybody else's if they want to.
But people drift to sleep to their own corner of the campsite, and Scarlet, you have the evening to yourself.
Okay.
It's tight quarters though, so people are going to definitely know you're doing stuff with the prongs, unless you wanted to step away.
I mean, I don't want to wake anybody up, so like maybe I'll go a little bit away, but I'll still like be in eyesight of the camp.
Okay. It's mostly just seeing if you were okay with people seeing it, because, you know, Sarathil and Kieran typically are awake in the first aughts of the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to hide it from anybody, but I'm trying to respect the people that have already fallen asleep.
Well, you're the only person in the party who could potentially hide something from Kieran, so I had to ask. With your, the only person whose rolls, maybe Timbers, could contest with his passive perception.
Yeah. No, I'm not trying to.
Okay.
So I'll, if the two of you are still awake, I'll just say I'm gonna go over there for a little while. I want to try something. And then I'll just go find like a tree or something and put my back against and like melt some snow and make myself a little place to sit. And I'll take the sword off of my belt and kind of just hold it in my hands. I'm not quite sure how this works, but I feel like you can understand me.
You would see the blade has, due to its pretty distinct connection to you, as you're saying this, it's sort of the cracks, because you can always see the cracks in the blade where it separates into the ooze whip. You can see they just sort of like almost like vibrate against each other, as you can see a little bit of magmic light underneath, almost like a, for lack of a better way to put it, like the sword is purring. There's sort of a slow rumbling, chuffing coming from it as you can see the shards of blades separating slightly and letting out this sort of red light, acknowledging you.
All right. Hello, I guess. I'm not even quite sure what I wanted to ask. The piece of you that is a part of... Is it a part of her? Or do you know... Do you know about her? Referring to the Cirrus.
You would see kind of coming out of the cracks is the little small black and red tendrils. I just realized that part of my window shows up on
it's
there.
In the window, yeah.
Yeah. That's all right. Little strands of the ichor come out of the cracks, and you see a large part of them are reaching for your hands to connect.
I look over back at the camp. I give it a finger.
As you see the strand kind of like almost like a frog's tongue shooting at a fly.
Yeah.
Shoots to your finger and connects. You can see it kind of, it doesn't like, it's not like the dagger where it just sort of completely, it just sort of like stays connected to your finger, just creating a physical connection.
And seeing that it didn't do anything terrible, I'll give it the rest of my hand.
You'd see the it's sort of like a bunch of strands come off of the blade to your hand, and it almost drags the blade into your hand, and then kind of you see each of the shards of metal break apart and sort of the full molded oozed sort of snake head comes out of the blade. As you can see, kind of just this sort of slow thrumming of fire beneath the ooze and magma, as it's sort of that strange eyeless and mouthless head of the snake looks back at you.
So is that a yes?
It It shakes its head no. Because the question you asked is it part of the Cirrus, right? Yeah. It shakes its head no.
Well, that's comforting. Do you know how to weaken her? Or possibly kill her?
It shakes its head yes. And then it kind of bows its head towards your other hand. The kind of like the bladed snake whip brings its head down and it's sort of hovering around your other hand, your empty hand.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand.
It sort of shakes its head frustratedly because it can't talk to you.
Right. My next question was going to be, is it only yes and no questions?
You ascertain that in its current state, the easiest way is yes. Yes or no questions.
Okay. Cool.
It does kind of like it hovers its head around your hand, and then it kind of just like quickly does a quick slash, not on your skin, but against your sleeve, almost to show itself cutting the sleeve, and then it kind of like rests its head almost weirdly into the palm of your hand.
Are you telling me that I can do it?
It just sort of gently presses the blade into your hand, not cutting you.
Yeah. She's so powerful. I'm not strong enough to do it.
The head of this blade quickly flings up and you feel it, a cut on your hand.
What's that for?
You would see around the cut there would be little strands of the ooze of the Scathulum there, and they kind of crawl into the wound, and it immediately heals. And then you would just hear very brokenly in your mind, Isgoth. Our name is Isgoth.
Isgoth. That's your name.
Together.
You and I.
Yes.
I see. Well, I suppose I'll have to try it out someday. And I look terrified at the very thought.
You are afraid.
Yes.
We are too.
What are you afraid of?
The nightmare. The pallid one. Prison. we can help. And you'd see that voice seems to fade away in your mind, as if this, whatever it did, was a temporary thing. Like it wasn't able to sustain talking to you. It was just sort of putting part of itself into your mind. So then it kind of like you see the head of the blade comes away from your hand and it just looks to you.
The problem for another day.
And the blade back to its normal form.
Put it away and go back to camp.
Okay. The next morning, there is the storm is a little bit stronger today. The snow is coming down a bit heavier, but generally speaking, it doesn't. There's not a lot of snow this far north. It's so cold in this time of year that it doesn't snow because not a lot of moisture evaporates into the air to then be turned to snow. So even on a day like this, most of the snow whipping into your face is more so from the wind than it is from the sky. But Talio tells you that you'll be upon the lodge early this evening. So as y'all are traveling, if I could get perception checks from those who would like to make one.
You want a perception check for me?
15.
Sorry.
What was it?
15.
Yeah, because Talio got a nat 1, so.
Ooh, woof.
34.
Whoa.
You said 16, Scarlet?
15.
15. Okay. So as you kind of crest up a taller cliff edge where Talio wants to go to give you all a better vantage, Kieran, you can see the lodge below. Very simple Elysian architecture, very open air, but built to be somewhat stealthily hidden amongst the ancient trees here. Much of Elysian architecture is open-aired and built to connect the folks living there to the moon above and the stars above. These are built with a bit more purpose. They're built higher in the trees to avoid the dangers of the forest floor, but still with an open-air aesthetic so that you can still receive the basking of the corpse moon's light. It looks relatively empty at this point. You don't see any lights. If anything, it's almost ghostly in its emptiness. Talio kind of looks to you as you're looking out to it and says, "It's been too long since I've seen any sort of machinations of the wardens to know if there's any scheduled occupations of this keep. But it looks fairly empty. We could wait a little while to observe to see if there's any activity."
It might be wise to wait. Short. See if there's any activity, as you said.
As you wish. As you wait, you do notice that there does seem to be some activity inside. As you would see at a random point, you would basically like hear some commotion inside. There's no light in there though. No one's turned any light on, but there's a moment where, Kieran, you would catch just sort of the soft sounds of someone interacting in there as maybe you and Talio got closer. Someone's inside, but you're not sure if it's a warden or an animal or someone else.
Someone appears to be inside. Scarlet, Do you think you can scout it out, see what you see inside?
I was just about to ask. Yes. Just give me half an hour.
Of course. If they have anything like this, then Kieran will make a minor illusion to create the sign of the Glenuvial circle, which I assume he knows.
Sure.
In case it's a hedge cleric, but then he would be like, they look like Talio. We'll avoid this area for the time.
Right. I'll be back.
Okay, so you're gonna stealth up Scarlet?
Uh-huh.
Alright, go ahead and give me a stealth roll. And then either perception or investigation after that.
Stealth is 28. Investigation is 25.
Sorry, what was the stealth again?
28.
And then 25 for investigation?
Mhm.
Okay. The rest of you, where are you kind of staying in relation to this? Are you staying close by or far away?
Far away. I'm far away.
Whatever, I would just stick with Talio, so whatever distance he's kept us at.
Okay, so I imagine he would keep you at least like 100 feet away, maybe even a little bit more, like 200 feet away, where you can still keep eyes on it, but
Right.
it'll be close enough if there's an emergency you can rush forward. Okay, so 28 stealth and 25 investigation. So as you're wandering up, you get to the roots of the tree that the lodge is built into. And you can see there's a spiral kind of ramp that leads up to the actual lodge itself that you can sneak up. You're going to have to rely on your quietness here because it's completely exposed. There's not really things to hide behind. As you're getting... Go ahead.
Is there a way that I could quietly have Lily, like, just kind of slither up and, like, onto something, and then I could pull up? Or would that be more obvious?
So the only reason I would say that might not work well is that when Lily, like, pulls you, she becomes chains. And chains aren't the quietest of things. You can take it up with Wiswick for his faulty design.
Okay. I'll try and quietly go up those staircase.
Okay.
That's
I'd say as you got closer to the top, you would hear someone inside who seems to be like not being quiet at all. They're like throwing things inside. You just hear like the sounds of junk moving around or like a pot shattering. But as soon as you get to the very top of the stairs, and you're on the actual landing surrounding kind of like it's sort of like a disc that's around the tree, and then there's sort of a building built into the trunk itself. The noise immediately stops as soon as you reach the top.
I was gonna say, could I check for traps?
You can. Go ahead and give me a investigation roll. I mean, I'd say I'd take your 25 for that if you want.
Okay, good, because I rolled a natural one.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any. Actually, if anything, you notice any traps that were here have already been triggered.
Okay. Okay, so the noise stopped as soon as I got up to the top there.
Yeah, as if they may have heard you.
Great. I will stand very still and continue to listen.
You would hear a very, very, very difficult to perceive whistling sound coming from inside. Very low. Huron, down below, you would start to hear commotion in the forest line, as if something large is moving through the tree line, and you can see like birds scattering and other small animals rushing away, as you can hear like the sounds of like dead trees being knocked over.
Something wicked this way comes.
Well, what could it be?
It's lodged.
It's not another Balefane, is it?
hedge cleric. What else is lodge in these woods?
It's at that point that you get your confirmation that it is a Balefane. As you can see, Scarlet, as you're sitting there waiting, you would suddenly hear, as you're listening, you don't hear anything inside, but you do hear everyone down below, 200 feet away, would see small trees and saplings getting knocked over, birds flying out, as you would see a massive Balefane steps out from the tree line. And this thing is in its corporeal form. So it's basically, the best way to describe these things is they're brontosauruses with bear fur. And then they have, at the head where there would be a face, there's a wooden mask. When they're in their corporeal form, the wooden mask is ethereal, and vice versa when they swap it, where they can go ethereal and have a corporeal face, basically.
Interesting.
Is there...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Q.
Seeing this, Kieran's gonna rush forward and go, Scarlet, look out! And then shouting in Elysian, he'll be like, Hedge Cleric of the Glenuville Circle. A shepherd comes with a flock that is lost. We wish you no harm. And I guess I'll even say he'll use a minor illusion at the Elysian part that he speaks out to amplify his voice. And if nothing else, to, distract the Balefane from attacking Scarlet.
Is there anywhere higher I can get?
You're pretty high at this point. There are higher perches that you can get to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Want some height.
Kieran, give me a quick persuasion roll. Scarlet, I'm gonna need you to give me a dexterity saving throw as the Balefane, this massive creature, rams into the tree.
Okay.
That's a 12 for persuasion.
Is a 28 dexterity saving throw.
Okay, so even though the tree is kind of rocked and you do hear a little bit of splintering down below, you kind of are leaping. You have to leap from branches to branches in a moment and kind of grab on and swing yourself back up to not fall down completely from the shaking of this. As this creature is sort of hits into it, its front paws kind of hit to the top of it, and it's trying to knock the tree down at this point. As it is,
see me?
It's not responding to your presence necessarily. You might think that it's responding to that low whistling that you heard.
Yeah. But is the tree? Is it is the lodge built into the tree? Trying to knock the lodge over?
It's trying to knock the lodge over, and you can see its head is kind of looking up, and it is looking for something, probably you.
All right, I will try and stay very still in the swaying tree.
It's as long as it's just gonna keep attacking it until it finds you. Basically, seems to be the behavior it's demonstrating, and you all can see that too, and that it's just sort of doing that animalistic thing of just bashing its front paws into. It's very much like if you've ever seen a bear when it finds something that it's not sure of, they do this thing where they go up and stamp their feet down on it, and this thing is basically stamping its feet against the tree itself.
Are there other trees nearby that I could get into to try and
you'd have
to
do an acrobatics check, but there's enough of a canopy above that you could do some dope monk shit as a rogue.
Yeah. Dope rogue shit. My acrobatics is pretty good. 29.
Yeah, as another pounce happens and it hits this, and you hear that, and you can kind of see the long neck and head come up, and the fur that's on it, it's very clearly bear-esque fur, but it almost hangs like hanging moss off of it, and it is tangled up with plants and other life forms that this creature probably rests often, and other things are just oh look, it's a big old thing, I'm gonna build my home into it.
It's a big old thing.
Yeah. This is bigger than the Balefane you saw earlier, or a couple days ago. This one is probably much older than the one you saw before.
Would you say this is a huge creature or gargantuan?
I would say huge. Yeah. It's definitely, yeah, it's not gargantuan, it would be huge. But Scarlet, yes, with that 29, you're able to leap to the next tree over. I will ask you to make another stealth check.
$27.
Yeah, you're able to slip past it and kind of slide down the tree, I imagine. And kind of quietly move back to the party as this thing is looking around now. It's just going to keep hitting that tree for now, probably, until it decides to stop. But if is there anything you all want to do, you can do so now.
I'm sorry. I thought I was quiet enough.
It's okay. Yeah, well, I think we found a member of the hedge clerics.
Is that good?
What were you shouting at?
I was hoping to parley with them.
With what, the giant beast?
No,
there's
whatever
someone
summoned
inside.
it. Yes.
There's someone inside. They whistled for it.
They say that only the hedge clerics can control these beasts to the Balefanes. But what if, Kieran says, starting to walk forward, and then reaching out a hand, he'll start small, cast command on it.
Oh, okay.
So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw DC 20.
Okay.
There is a 60-foot range on it, so he'll obviously get closer.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, like, as you're getting closer, I'm imagining kind of like coming out of the like thicket of growth under the trees. You're looking up, kind of holding the hand out as the creature kind of just like comes down from the tree that it was hitting, and you see that long neck just and looks to you as it will make its wisdom saving throw.
I want to be like near Kieran, so I'm like hiding, but close enough that I can protect if I need to.
The music's just got real intense.
Yeah, it did.
This was my new song that I added.
Love it.
I'm sorry, but it rolled a natural 19 for a 27. So, what was the command line that you do say?
Calm.
Okay. I'm gonna ask everyone to roll initiative here.
Makes sense.
Boy.
Ew.
All right, 20 to 25. Good. Okay. 15 to 19.
17.
10 to 14.
12.
Okay. It also got a 12, Shannon, but I think you have a higher dex than it, so you're good to go ahead of it. Sarathil, what'd you get?
7.
No.
That sounds about right. All right, so just to give you guys generally like what you're seeing around you, this is a very thick part of the forest. You're kind of in a basin of the forest where the Balefane actually is. It's about 60 feet ahead of you for Kieran and Scarlet. For Sarathil and Talray, it's about 150 feet away. It currently just kind of landed down and is staring down at you all. Kieran, you at the very least know they are notoriously violent against those that seem to be threatening towards it. So, with that being said, it does look like it's aggressive towards you. Obviously, it was trying to knock Scarlet out of a tree. Kieran, you're up first. Scarlet, you're on deck. Old Bailey is up after that, and then Sarathil.
Old Bailey.
I might as well just be old Sarathil.
All right, so Kieran, you're up.
Kieran's gonna shout out again, probably just in common at this point, and goes, "Come, your beast. We mean you no harm." And then he's gonna cast banishment on it. So it needs to make a
Ooh.
charisma save, DC 20.
Ooh, okay. Charisma.
Hoping it's a little
Charisma.
worse at that.
What was the DC again? You said 20?
20.
Okay. So it rolled 18. So it is going to I don't like this stat block that I'm. That's too charismatic for this creature.
He's
I'm
not that charming.
I'm gonna say that it is going to. Let's see what these things be. No, I'm gonna say that they have a 0 modifier for this, and they're not proficient in the saving throw. So with that 18, it does get banished.
Fantastic.
All right, so a lot of you see as this thing kind of, it does look like it's about to just sort of leap up and just do like a shockwave stamp around you all. And as it's up on its hind legs, it just sort of and vanishes.
Do you want me to go up to the person and subdue them?
Let's be careful about this. We don't wish them any harm.
No.
And I guess, Kieran will move closer to the lodge and go, "Hedge Cleric, we know you're in there. We have a minute before your Balefane comes back and tries to kill us. Please, we simply wish to speak."
Give me another persuasion roll.
Come on, Q.
You got this.
No, it's a set.
Oh God!
Why would you expect anything?
No,
Okay.
you are so persuasive.
Scarlet, if you
Yeah.
want, you can give me a stealth roll. Are you trying to kind of go up to subdue?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm kind of operating this loosely with the same initiative
Yeah.
order.
Yeah. I want to be careful. Like if I get up there, I don't want to be menacing, but I want to make them pay attention.
You're sneaking up, but you're not in assassin sneak mode with your daggers out like this. You're in
Correct.
calming
I
sneak
am in.
mode.
Yes, exactly. Ew. Oh, it's not bad, but I rolled a 4 plus 15 is 19.
Maybe you should use digital.
What did you get total? Sorry.
19.
Okay. All right. So, it is the Hedge Cleric's turn, and then Sarathil's on deck. Let's see. Scarlet.
Mm.
Give me an intelligence saving throw. Wait.
Is he visible?
Oh wait. Is this a mind thing?
Mine.
No,
Mind
it's not.
crush.
Okay. All right. Well, it's cocked.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. What did you get?
19.
I'm sorry. It was a wisdom save, not an intelligence. Just change
Well,
the
that's
modifier.
better. Yep, 21.
Okay, you save, and for a moment, Shannon, you just like let out like this sort of like out of nowhere guffaw, like laugh.
Yeah.
As there is something like you don't know why you just laughed. It's very awkward, just like ah!
Yeah.
But you do resist the Tasha's hideous laughter that was just cast on you. Sarathil, you give me a perception check to see if you can see them when they cast this. Just so you can, if you know where they are.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about, baby. 3.
I'm sitting here rolling their stealth check, thinking, oh, they rolled poorly. But they're rolling against Sarathil, so they rolled not poorly. They got, I mean, hey, they didn't roll that well. Scarlet, I would say with the roll that they made, though, you do see them. What's your passive, actually?
My passive is 17.
Okay, so just for everyone's reference, Scarlet is higher up than all of you. With the way when she came up here, she's probably about like 60 feet up, or close, maybe actually more like 80 feet up, as she's approaching the top. Scarlet, you do notice just the glimmer of the person as they cast this. You wouldn't have noticed them if they had succeeded in getting you to laugh hysterically, but you just sort of noticed this like plume of green hair just vanish into the dark of the actual lodge.
I know it's not my turn, but on my turn I will pursue.
Yeah, Sarathil, you can definitely see where Scarlet has been moving up there, and you all would have heard a very loud guffaw from Scarlet up there. She's laughing at something.
I'm just gonna hold until I can see something. I'm not really gonna have much of a turn here. Just knowing that Kieran's trying to de-escalate the situation.
Totally. Okay, in that case, Kieran, you're up.
Kieran just like goes, "Really, Scarlet, laughing at a time like this?" As he starts to rush up the ramps. So I guess he uses full movement and a dash action to climb 60 feet up.
Great. So you would be about 20 feet away from Scarlet. You could see her at the top of the of the ramp, and you can see her
glaring at you.
Her laughter.
I didn't do it on purpose.
Scarlet, you're up.
I'm going after them.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and give me a perception check.
14.
They got an 11. So you can see you can see them you can see they seem to be attempting to hide amongst the refuse of this room. It looks like no one has really visited this lodge in many months. It's dusty, there's a lot of garbage all over the place, a lot of natural life has reclaimed a lot of the area. And you can see this person kind of crouched behind a couple of larger crates of goods. You could just see like their foot off the outside of the outside of it.
Bonus action, activate Lily, and action, send it to try and grab the foot.
Okay, go ahead and
send
give me a range.
to try and grab the foot.
Give me a ranged attack.
Come on, Lily. 19.
That will hit.
Ooh, good. All right, I'm not trying to hurt them.
No, you're just trying to grab them, right?
I'm trying to grab them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna say it's like just gonna be like a baseline fire damage that'll probably happen to him because of Lily's bite.
That's fair.
So I'd say just like.
Do you want me to roll like
a d6?
A d6, yeah. 3.
And then what is it? It's a contested strength roll, right? For it,
let's
or is it a
see.
saving throw?
Yeah, if the target is large or smaller, it must succeed on a DC 18 saving throw or be pulled 20 feet toward me.
Okay.
Or I may also use this feature to grapple a targeted creature with the chain.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. It's just choosing whether you want them to be grappled or if you want to pull them towards you.
Grapple. I want them grappled, so they don't need. Yeah.
They are grappled because they rolled an 8.
Excellent.
Have a modifier.
Excellent.
They're weak boy.
Right. Kieran!
So you see, as Scarlet rushes forward, she spots the foot and she sends Lily rushing out from her chain of the depths, and it wraps around the leg of this hedge cleric, and I imagine is just sort of like lifts him in the air a little bit as he's kind of dangling upside down, and you can see this Elysian elf now who has like a green hair that just kind of like wildly goes out all over the place in all manner of directions. He has this much darker purple skin than Kieran's, much more like a deep violet or indigo. Eyes have this the orange pupils, the black sclera. They are they're wearing a strange combination of clothes that are spun from different materials that just don't look like, they're not wearing any leather. They're just wearing what you surmise is something somewhat cotton based. Mess of trinkets hanging off of them as they're pulling up. So the point where it's like they're almost like a wind chime as you're holding them up, as there's hollowed out branches, hollowed out bones, other talismans all kind of clanking against each other, as there's sort of at his waist is this hanging reliquary, very similar to Kieran's old one, carved very eloquently into the wood. And it's just sort of like banging against all of these other things. As you can see, stuff falling out of his pockets left and right. There's just like little like knickknacks. You see a pine cone falls out and rolls off as he just sort of like spins slowly around. So he's facing you, Scarlet, and his hands are just like this.
Okay. I don't want Lily to let go, but I want to lower him down.
Okay. I mean, I'd say at this point, Kieran, you could easily walk in and we'll kind of a muted initiative, and something comes up, we'll go back to initiative.
Bursting into the doorway, Kieran looks at the scene and goes, "I said don't harm them, Scarlet.
I'm not.
Please,
I'm
let
not.
them
I
down."
didn't. I
I'm
did.
so sorry.
That's what I'm doing.
Scarlet, as you two start to kind of bicker there, Kieran, you make like a little bit of eye contact with this hedge cleric, and he's like this, and he looks at you, and as he's upside down though, and
sorry. Could you get upside down?
He goes like this, and when he sees you, he kind of smiles at you, and he's got these really yellow teeth, and then he just sort of winks at you and goes like this, and then and he teleports away, and he suddenly I need Scarlet and Kieran to both give me wisdom saving throws.
Oh.
I do.
Yours is better than mine.
you
Yeah,
guys get?
but I have a plus 10.
6.
15.
All right, so you both you both hear in your heads, why is grass so dangerous? Because it's full of blades. And you will both start laughing hysterically.
I quit.
Well, Kieran
Way to
just
go.
dies of laughter.
Yeah. His sides are split open.
Yep.
I just rapidly Googled nature pun
joke?
jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both start, for better or worse, if you actually hear that in your head, or if you just start to compulsively laugh. You both look at each other as you're arguing in that moment. You stop as you see him misty step away, or realistically, you actually use face step, and then you two look at each other and might start slow, but it builds, and suddenly you both just are knocked prone and incapacitated and laughing for a minute straight.
God.
A long time.
But as you're laughing, though, he does kind of come up closer to you, Kieran and Scarlet.
Mhm.
You might, from the minor perceptions that you can make while in a laughing fit, he doesn't do this hostilely towards you. It seems more like he did it to get a better look at you from a safe vantage point, as he's just sort of hovering over the two of you now and looking at you. And he looks at you, Kieran, and he sees kind of like the staff that fell from your hand as you started laughing. And then he's kind of like looking at the moon crystals of it, as he starts to touch the staff, and he picks the staff up. And then he looks kind of like more distressed, looks at you, Kieran, even though you're laughing, that you do make eye contact with him. Oh god, I'm almost gonna have him drop the spell early so we can stop that. No, but he does, like, Kieran, you can tell from his eyes, like, he is currently deciding whether or not he should flee with this staff or stay here.
We can't do anything because we're laughing too hard.
No, you can.
I mean,
You can. No, you get wisdom saves at the end of your turn. So go ahead and give me
Yeah.
another wisdom save, both of you.
Wait, do I have a turn?
Yeah.
No.
Sarathil, as you're holding
Right,
the spell down there, you just hear Scarlet and Kiran like laughing their asses off up there. That's all you. I mean, granted, for you and Talia, you both probably think things are fine at this point since they're just laughing their asses off up there.
Okay. Just keeping an eye on the door.
Can we try and call Sarathil's name?
Did you make your wisdom saves?
Yeah, I got a 9.
Would you get, Sarathil?
13.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna
We're
roll.
about to have to go on a fetch quest where we have to chase down some fucking little gremlin with my staff. Have I lost my ability? So I checked. I think I still maintain concentration.
You do. I took a look.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing that made me think maybe you didn't was the incapacitated part, but
Right.
that's just actions reactions. You maintain
Yeah.
concentration. Sarathil, you would see up above a figure step out from the lodge that's not Kiran or Scarlet. Kiran and Scarlet, you would see this guy does start to walk away with the staff. Sarathil, do you want to do anything? I mean, you're
See this guy that's not Sarathil holding Sarathil's staff or Kiran's staff.
exactly, yeah. You see a very non-Kiran walk out with Kiran's staff. Talio's got his bow already strung. He's gonna shoot this guy.
I'm gonna cast. I always forget the name. Finish. Telekinesis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, telekinesis. Perfect.
So
I'm gonna
not
cast.
to
What?
complicate things, but
Here we go.
being incapacitated does lose concentration of a spell.
Oh no.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, I just
Oh, no.
because like
I didn't click
I
through
was-
to look at the actual.
I went to concentration itself.
Oh,
the
okay.
rules for it
See,
because
that's
it doesn't say that in the spell.
That's the annoying
info.
thing about some of the conditions is that you have to. They don't have
Right.
everything there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd say Sarathil, you would still get a chance to get a spell off here, but a Balefane will immediately appear after your spell is cast.
Wait, I was holding a spell. Can I get a spell and then I have my late turn and then I have another spell?
You know what? Based on the initiative order, I will allow that.
Yes. So, I will
Telekinesis
like to cast
on the
telekinesis
trickster.
on the staff.
Oh, okay. More interesting.
I like to imagine he doesn't have a high
Little
strike
nail
check. This little
does not.
tricky guy.
It's funny because his
Little
behavior makes him sound little, but I have not described him as little yet. He's probably the same size as Kiran. He's an Elysian.
Oh, he's a little man. He's a leprechaun. He's already burned in my brain as a leprechaun.
Let's see. You can
It's
try.
canon.
Okay, so he'll roll a strength check. You roll a spell casting ability check. So your spell attack, basically.
Yes. I'm just gonna roll in vampiric touch.
Okay.
Come on, here we
He's
go.
not
Here we
very
go.
strong, so you're probably gonna.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, he got a 6.
25.
So he's tugging on this staff at this point. But as you get that victory off, you suddenly see in front of you just sort of actually, I imagine it's right where it was, and it's about to just
Oh boy.
come down. Especially because it technically is before you in its initiative order. So it's gonna get it's just gonna get one stomp off.
Oh no.
Stop me! I'm just a frail old man.
So give me a dexterity saving throw, Sarathil.
Nine.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Why do you do this to me?
Because I know you. No. I know that no dice favor you. Neither digital nor real. Uh, 23 bludgeoning damage. And give me a con saving throw for that.
Is that again 20? What was the damage?
23 bludgeoning.
You monster.
What's that, like half your health?
Yeah, it's not that bad. All right, and then con saving throw.
Yeah, for concentration on telekinesis.
I know. Why?
What'd you get?
4.
No.
Nice.
Hold on. I don't have anything that can help me reroll.
You have lucky.
No.
Oh. No, Iroh had
Unfortunately,
lucky.
I know. Unfortunately, I don't have lucky. It's an ability check. That's stupid. All right. Yeah. That's well,
Okay.
concentration's broken.
Scarlet and Curon, go ahead and give me your wisdom saves again to break out of
I'm
this.
using a different dice.
So wait.
Natural 20!
Natural 1.
Seriously?
What were you saying, Sarathil?
Oh.
How far away is the guy from me?
I mean, he's pretty far away. I mean, you would have been able to move forward if you needed to. He's probably, I mean, I'd say he's at least 120 feet away from you.
He was 120 feet away from me.
From your original position. I mean, you could have moved on previous turns.
Oh, okay. The reason I'm asking is just the object would have moved 30 feet. So after my concentration breaks, I guess in midair it would just drop. Is what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying, yeah. Okay, yeah, so it would have moved 30 feet and just sort of dropped. He'd probably on his turn will scramble for it. But Scarlet, you break out of your hideous laughter. Curon, you're still hideously laughing.
Right. Really, Kieran, laughing at a time like this? And then is it my turn?
Yeah.
Can I tackle this person?
Or well, I guess actually technically no.
Okay.
The laughter happens at the end of your turn.
Okay. Well, next turn I'd like to tackle this person if I can.
Yes, no problem. We'll allow it. Okay. It is their turn. Scarlet.
Hmm.
Can you give me another
That's
wisdom
me.
saving throw?
Got it, boss. 7.
Scarlet, you are a deer. As he casts polymorph on you.
Damn it!
Scarlet, as you come, I imagine you come rushing out to try to, like, you're getting ready to tackle him, and you just suddenly just like feel like in unstable legs beneath you, like bambi, as you become a doe in that moment. As you did fail on that polymorph.
Did Talio shoot this guy? I'm getting tired of him now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Talio.
Yeah, where's Lou? Is Lou gonna rip this guy's throat out?
Oh god, there's too many characters. Too many characters.
That'd be pretty awesome.
Do you man? Okay.
And I guess technically Talray's still there.
Yeah, where's Monday?
All right, folks.
Also, doesn't Ilyuvanya want to like just come down and smite these motherfuckers?
You know what? That's exactly right. Suddenly, the entire planet shakes as you see beams of light fall from the sky all over the place as the rapture is happening. No, I will say that I'll say at this point, considering I'll just say that folks were staying behind while Curon and Scarlet were addressing things. Generally speaking, you have an overwhelming force here that people can start to clamor after him. I'll say, I mean, Lou probably wasn't trying to get into conflict, kind of afraid of what it might cause. But I'll say Mundy does kind of land up there now and kind of attempts to grapple this guy, jump on top of him while Scarlet is a doe and Kieran is
Oh, she's a
hideously
deer.
laughing. Alright, so this guy, not very strong. Weirdly enough, I don't think Mundy is either, technically. If I remember the character sheet. There he is. Oh, okay, Mundy is stronger. Yeah, Mundy catches this guy. So this guy is Scarlet. You can still see as a deer. So you see this guy is holding the staff, and he just sort of waves his hand over the air as you see. You can sort of just like feel like this magic flowing through to you, and then suddenly you just sort of feel like yourself just like rapidly. If you tried to talk at all or yell, it would just come out as weird deer barking.
Yeah.
But then you'd
Where's
see
that
just
bell
kind of
on
like
it?
coming up from behind this guy, because you're on this sort of like patio ramp in the high tree. You see Mundy just lands directly on top of this guy as Kieran's staff goes scattering forward in front of him as Mundy has captured him. Kieran, give me another wisdom save. Get out of this. I'll give
Lose
you
concentration.
advantage.
Did you say with advantage?
Yeah, I said I'll give you advantage on this since he's
Okay.
grappled. Even though that doesn't technically affect concentration.
No.
What'd you get?
18.
If it meets it, it beats it.
Beats it.
So
Woo!
you do break out of this you break out of this laughter fit as you kind of straighten yourself out and stand up. You can see there's a deer up here, a doe. Actually, no. Technically, when he cast polymorph, you would have come out of hideous laughter because his concentration would have been broken.
Right.
So you didn't actually even make that save. So we'll just say this happens in concert with that. As you see Scarlet is turned into a deer, and then you see Mundy plops on top of this guy and grapples him. So and the staff goes skittering forward, so you can acquire it again. And we'll come out of initiative here because he's basically captured at this point.
What's the Balefane doing?
The Balefane is okay. Actually, the Balefane would still be raging. I'm realizing that even if this guy gets captured, until he dismisses the Balefane, it's gonna still freak out. So what I'm gonna say is,
I just banish it.
you can? Yeah, you
Do
can
it.
banish it.
Bang.
Come on,
banished.
Sarathil.
Banished.
Okay. It's,
Do I have to make a roll?
No. Banishment is a saving throw on their end.
Good. As long as I don't have to roll.
It's charisma, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your DC?
20.
It fails. So
Yes.
banishes
Get up on
back
outta
into some astral plane.
So Kieran grabs his staff and, like, a little disheveled, walks over and, like, leans down looking at this individual and goes, "Now let's try this again. We mean you no harm, Head Cleric. We simply wish to speak. Please, when the Balefane returns, dismiss it or calm it, however. Please. And no more laughing."
I headbutt Kieran.
Don't. What? Can you please take care of this as well?
You see Mundy kind of just sort of like stomps on his back a little bit and just snaps his fingers, and Scarlet, you revert very like comically back into yourself.
Yep.
I think you look
So-
better that way.
Let's start with some names, friend. And Kieran passes his staff to the other hand and puts a hand down looking at Mundy to be like, "All right, buddy, you can get off."
You see Mundy
My
kind of
name-
is like growling a little bit.
I have my dagger out now.
And kind of
Yes.
gives one last kind of like pounce on his back, just like the Balefane was doing, and then kind of wanders off.
My name is Kiran Islistane of the Cloister of Shepherds.
Special appearance.
Hey guys, it's Timber.
Hold on.
The hell are you doing there?
What am I doing here?
Yeah, what are you doing there?
I'm stopping here on my way home from...
Alex, I was just a deer. I got turned into a deer.
I got turned into a deer?
No, she got turned
I
into a
did.
deer.
Oh dear.
You ran away in the forest.
Of course
Yeah.
I did. That's typical DM strategy for a wolf. There's
Yeah.
a squirrel. Must go get.
Exactly.
Are you guys still playing? Or,
And we're about
Yes.
to wrap up.
Yeah, we're still live.
Yeah, still alive. Say
That's
hello
cool.
to the fans.
Hello, fans. I hope you're not a ceiling fan. Or a rotary.
This has been a great intermission.
Oh my god.
And that was an even better exit.
Excellent.
Of the Cloister of Shepherds, son of Navali, who might you be? Still, from out.
He'll shake your hand as he's lifting himself up from where Mundy had him. And you can see he immediately kind of grabs onto this, like, he has several hanging talismans all over him, and he just grabs a random one seemingly and holds it up to you. There's nothing discernible about this that you can see that means anything to you as far as credentials go. But he just goes, Ilgwyn of the Glenuviel Circle. I thought you were some of Queen Ayla's brutes.
No, you couldn't tell? Kieran, like, says, gesturing to himself, I'm a shepherd, not a damn seer.
You're the same to us.
Well, that's rather rude.
Seers, shepherds, they both don't like us.
That's not true. Kieran says, like,
There's a reason we're hedge
picking himself
clerics.
My family always spoke highly of the outliers of society.
You can't even say the name of our circle, can you?
Glenuviel Circle.
Whatever.
Hmm.
Well, it's a little bit
Ilgwyn.
of fun, a little bit of laughs, a little whatever. And I think I'll be on my way now. And he'll just sort of like start to jaunt past you, Huron.
No, nope.
We simply wish to have a few words with you, if you'll allow it, for all the trouble you've caused us, turning my friend here into a fawn.
Worst day of my life.
Yeah, I
That's
think
your
it
worst
was
day?
the worst
What
day
about
of.
when-
There are far worse days to have than being a deer for a few seconds. Would you like to
I-
be
I-
one again?
Answer him. No, answer him.
Why are you so sure? And I'll just kind of slap your hand holding on to him. Give me a wisdom saving throw.
No! 19.
Okay, it doesn't work.
Good.
As you see sort of a few sparks of magic off of his hand, and you resist the magical effects. Oh.
Answer him.
What was the question again?
It wasn't really a question. So I just wished to have some words
All right.
with you.
You two should
Fine,
coordinate better when you are interrogating prisoners.
We're not You're not a prisoner. We
You feel
simply
like a
wish-
prisoner? He will point to
Yes.
Scarlet.
Stop trying to run away.
I was walking away of my own accord and business. It was a misunderstanding.
You're on.
I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to... Ilgwyn. Your circle.
Hmm?
You are not fans of Queen Ayla, correct?
No.
Well, it just so happens I have some information that your circle might find interesting. Such as that she has captured the little drake Glowman and intends to use his power to bamf Alicia from this plane and let it be consumed by evil creatures from the far beyond.
Hate to interject here, but he did promise to calm his beast because it's about to come back right now.
Can you do that as well?
As
Do it.
I think as it is the minute I think it's about to go up right now.
Yeah, as you see, the Balefane comes back and it's just, and it kind of veers up to smack into the tree again. As you hear, he's just like,
Do it.
And you see, I can't whistle. Sean can't whistle, but he whistles. A very sweet tone. And you can see the Balefane was like up on its hind legs, about to just smash into this entire lodge, and then it just sort of lifts its head up and just like sort of nuzzles into the tree tops below, and then slowly comes down quietly and starts to wander, meander, and you see its whole body immediately, like the corporeal mossiness just sort of fades to this ethereal blue spirit form as the mask that was spiritual before turns to a wooden mask. It's all okay now. I can go with my friends, and it was misunderstanding.
Right,
Right.
but did anything I say to you mean anything at all whatsoever?
Oh. Yes, sorry, I got distracted by friend and his banishing spells. And could you repeat the sentence?
Queen Ayla has captured
Yes.
Glowman.
Mm-hmm.
You're familiar.
Yes. Little Drake, the Twilight
The
Drake.
little drake. She intends to use his magic to separate Alicia
This guy.
from the mortal realm. Because two entities, the Pallid King, who works in
Shake him a
tandem
little bit.
with the Harbinger to destroy. And actually, I'll admit, I think the Pallid King's more about this just consuming life and killing a bunch of things, where the Harbinger wants to connect all the planes, similar to the Wayward One.
That seems
Short
very
version,
complicated.
Kieran. Short version.
So many centuries ago. Basically, more sea conflict's gonna happen again. Ayla wishes to leave, and we were hoping to go against her, and we're looking for allies. And I thought,
Oh, well,
hedge
why didn't you
clerics-
say that in the first place?
I'll be honest, I'm not always the best at being straightforward.
Well, if you tell your doe to let go, maybe I can help you. What do you say,
Scarlet, would
Doe?
you please don't.
Don't call me that.
I've got one more in me.
Shove him.
What'd you say?
He says, He said, I've got one more in me.
Don't you fucking dare.
Ilguin, if you would be so kind, if you must turn anyone into anything, please. Might be nice to relax a little in the body of a woodland creature.
Okay. And he'll cast polymorph on you.
No!
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
That's a 14.
Oh no. Are you in tear now?
Nope. Kieran is a chipmunk. As Ilgwyn will hop forward and catch little Kieran in his hands. He'll
No.
peacefully let go of Kieran.
Change him back. Please, this is such a waste of time.
I think this is the best use of time. You
If I bop him, how many hit points does a chipmunk have?
one.
Good. Settle. Bring
Kieran,
it back.
you get some significant chipmunk head trauma for a moment. Before Scarlet, in your hands, Kieran becomes full
yeah.
sized.
Oh shit! We just both fall over.
And you see at that point, you're both on the ground. I imagine Sarathil just exacerbated right now, looking at the two of you. You see Ilgwyn, he kind of like spins his hands, and a long baton appears in his hand that he just sort of puts under his elbow, and he says, "So, now that you're lying around, I'd be happy to help you." And he puts a hand down to help lift you to your feet.
Thank you, Ilgwyn. It's appreciated.
Our circle is not far from here. If you are truthfully not the brutes of Therismore or the dogs of Sarathil, then we'd be happy to have you.
I think you'll find we are neither brutes nor dogs, though we do have once a brute, one of the undying champions of Ayla, who I resurrected and freed of her power. Do you remember hearing of old Rodrin the Bold?
Oh,
I go and sulk next to Sarathil.
Ilgwyn finds Scarlet endlessly entertaining.
And I hate every second of it.
So he just sort of smiles at Scarlet as she walks by. He says, "Oh, an old dog. Yes, we know of the Undying Champions and their names. You've got one with you. It's strange for someone who's not a brute or a dog."
Well, no, he was a brute, and then we killed him.
Not a brute anymore.
As a champion, and then I resurrected him using Ilyvanya's actual light instead of pale comparison that Ayla uses.
Not a brute or a dog, but just an old dog. Okay, I think that would be acceptable.
I think actually he's more of a cat, the way he acts.
Huron, is this worth the time?
I don't know. Kieran says with like a slight smile on his lips. It's interesting to say the least. We're here to make allies, Scarlet. No matter how interesting they might be.
We have to be allies with this person.
I don't know. His magic seemed pretty good to me. And if he can control those Balefanes...
We've got one more if you want to see it.
Oh.
Smiling at Scarlet. It's not an animal one.
Maybe later you can show us, Ilgwyn. For now, maybe it's best we head towards your circle.
See what happens.
You don't want to test her. There's only so much I can ask her not to do.
One more for the road. Wisdom saving throw.
You say wisdom saving throw?
Yep.
It's 19 again.
You don't like my jokes?
No.
Okay. You beat 2 in a row, I'll leave you alone. This way. And you see he wanders to the edge and he whistles again. And you see the long neck of the Balefane comes over. He grabs onto it and kind of slides down it onto its back. And I think that's where we'll end tonight. With this new friend, Ilgwyn.
Maybe not friend to some.
Yeah.
Scarlet hates him. Shannon loves him.
Excellent. He's very strong, actually. He's a very, very powerful druid.
Oh man, amazing.
All right, folks. Thank you for sticking around with us through some laughs and some stomping and some heartfelt RP. please join us for future programming throughout the week. Mike, are you all returning to another play tomorrow night with Alex's return?
I don't think I still think he's unable to.
Oh,
be
is he
around
still?
for another play tomorrow? He just
Cool.
yeah. So the reason that you just saw him there too is that he had to come back down for reasons. But tomorrow I'm gonna try to get Mark and myself to do tomorrow.
Nice.
So we will plan on that.
Sounds good. And then this Thursday is the return of Relaxing in Paradise after a little bit of a hiatus. I will probably, based on the behavior of the games I've been playing lately, I'll probably play Valheim on Thursday. Although I also want to play Horizon Zero Dawn because I want to play it so I can play the new sequel. That too. I've got a lot of games on my plate that I might play. And,
what's the other one?
Senua's Sacrifice. Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. And then Sunday is the Sean and Shannon Power Hour, the most powerful hour on the internet, where we'll recap the shenanigans of tonight's episode and speculate about Ilquin. And the road ahead to taking Alicia by diplomacy or force, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. We are going to send out a raid to somebody. Taking a look at who's live. I'm going to say we're going to raid Diagnosed Matt, a friend to the show, great person. So go and give him our love. And we hope to see you all in programming throughout the week. So thanks, folks. Have a good night. Say good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Sleep tight. Don't let the chipmunks bite.
Yep.